Very good evening, Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the Song of the Divine. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we'll be continuing from chapter 2, that is Sankhyayoga, the yoga of knowledge. Yesterday we were discussing from verse 31 to 38, which is the Kshatriya's duty to engage himself in the fight. So we stopped at verse 37. So one verse is all we have to do in here. The next we'll be beginning with verse 39 or 253 onwards, where Lord Shri Krishna will be teaching Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action as described by Lord Shri Krishna. So chapter 2, verse 38 onwards. Treating alike victory and defeat, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, get ready for the battle, fighting thus you will not incur sin. So what has Lord Shri Krishna been teaching Arjuna? He's talking about Arjuna being born of a Kshatriya. He has to perform his Kshatriya duties, and there is no way out of that. You can't say that I'm not going to fight. As a Kshatriya, it is the birthright of Arjuna to fight. He's a warrior. And you can't tell me that, no, I'm not going to fight, let someone else fight. So, Lord Shri Krishna is telling him how it is so important to do one's duty, born of our own inherent nature and from the class we come from. So, as a Kshatriya class, he's born as a Kshatriya. So, it is important for him to fight. There are no two ways about that. So, what is the Lord saying? He's saying, treating alike victory and defeat. This is something we've been discussing from the time we began this chapter, where it is important that you don't bother whether you're going to win or you're going to fail, in the sense, or lose the war. Neither of this is in your hand, but to fight alone you must. That is in your hand. Doing your duty to the highest of your abilities, which is God-given abilities, and being the best at that job is your duty. And that is born of your Kshatriya Dharma. Dharma is you have to fight that war, which is a righteous war. And gain and loss, pleasure and pain. Get ready for the battle. Fighting thus, you will not incur sin. So when you not bother about this gain and loss, pleasure and pain, see, we discussed at length how does this pairs of opposites come about, and that is why we need to have equanimity of mind, which is what Lord Shri Krishna has been imparting to Arjuna. But treating both, it doesn't mean if you make $1 billion, you're going to be the most happiest person. Of course, that's anybody will be happy. But imagine the same $1 billion is lost overnight. You're going to be the most miserable person. But why should either of this matter to you? Your job is to perform your duties alone. Whether you're going to win or you're going to fail, none of this is in your hand. So, surrendering everything to the will of the Divine Lord, you just have to fight. Why are you feeling afraid? I'm going to fail or something bad is going to happen. I might not even win the war. I don't want my relatives to die. So all these things are called nothing but the play of your mind. And it's an emotional state, an emotional condition that you are into, which is caused by your mind. So your mind is asthir, in Tripura Rasyam. It's a very beautiful scripture where Lord Dattatreya has imparted this beautiful knowledge to Parshuram. And my Guruji, Krishna Guruji, also has learned this under his great Gurudev, that is Lord Dattatreya. And he keeps teaching us, the asthir, the mind is asthir, which is unstable. It is not firm. It is not in that it's not in that strong, the firmness of mind we say. It's not there in that. It's always swaying, right, wrong, good, bad, happy, sad, something or the other. It's always swaying. There is no sthir. That firmness is not there at all. But when you don't have the firmness of mind, how can you do anything in this world? And this is exactly what Lord Shri Krishna is also teaching Arjuna. Come on, you can't tell me at this hour that you are going to not fight. And why are you bothered about whether it is victory or, defeat, gain or loss, pleasure and pain? None of this should matter to you. What comes about is my will alone. The end result is in nobody's hands. So why are you worried about it? Get ready for the battle, Arjuna. That's what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. Get ready for the battle. You can't keep every day telling me, I'm feeling low, I can't do this, I don't know this. We all go through this yo, ups and down, ups and down. Why? Why does that happen? Have you ever understood? This is the truth. I know many people, in their life, they're all fighting their own battles, the battle of their own life. They're unable to get out of that situation. Somebody said something to me, my mother-in-law is saying something bad about me, my father-in-law is saying bad about me. Actually, my Guruji asked me a very beautiful question. He asked, ask yourself, somebody saying something, how should that matter to you? Has that person killed you? Has that person caused any physical injury to you? Or have you been, put into some tough condition? Has physically anything been done to you? No. Just because you hear somebody's words, somebody saying something to you, that could be either the person is praising you or saying all the bad things about you. How should that matter? It's just what you listen, what you hear. Why is that affecting us? And that's the question we all have to answer. Why should anything said by others impact the way we live, do and work in this world? Why should it matter? How should our behavior determine what others say or not? None of this should matter. And this is where, we all fail to understand this supreme truth, which is what Lord Shri Krishna has been imparting to this Arjuna. This Arjuna is you and me. There is nobody outside of us. There is no Arjuna over there, This Arjuna, where the Lord is teaching us, it's you and me. So we have to ask ourselves, why is that we feel that way? See, everybody has their own demons to fight, okay? Now, we are very nearing Durga, Navratri. So we will be doing another most beautiful scripture called Devi Mahatmyam. And it is all about fighting the demons. First of all, where is the demons? The demons are within us. So that's the mind that we have to win. It's the mind we have to overcome. And that is when the real strength of who you truly are happens, where you will be able to empower the divinity within you. And this is what we are not able to do. Why? That is because we have never learned to control our mind. We are constantly, going between good, bad, right, wrong. That's what is continuously happening. And you know what? We learn the knowledge. Knowledge is given to us. But what happens the moment you finish this satsang, like you and I, and then we'll go back into our world, and then our mind comes over immediately. We forget the lessons we have learned. Why? Because we have not, made an arduous effort, that sadhana, to apply that lesson. See, application of lesson happens only when you practice. First day you might try, second day you might try, you might get angry, you might become emotional, all that happens. But someday you will have to implement that lesson, right? The day you implement this lesson, you will understand that you have become this divine. This is not just Bhagavad Gita, this is not just a mere book. This is Lord Shri Krishna himself. And this is what we don't understand. The day we even live one word of this scripture, the entire scripture, one word of this, that day you will become the divine being yourself. And this is the truth. And this is what we don't seem to realize. This is the God himself, Lord Shri Krishna himself is speaking to us. So why is that we don't live? This is something you have to ask. You have to contemplate. You have to understand. Go deeper within you to understand what is that, what is causing you that misery. Why are you becoming this Arjuna who's becoming emotional, infatuated, and then giving all these reasons why he doesn't want to fight the war? It's time you wake up and rise and shine. Why are you not doing that? So my Guruji was saying, you take anybody's life, everybody is going through their own, issues, challenges in their life, facing that, day in and day out. They don't know how to get out of that muck. But who's created that? Is somebody from outside creating that for you, or you yourself has created that? Yeah, we ourselves. Why? Because we have given into the mind, where the mind is, ruling us. It's dwelling on subjects, it's creating fantastic imaginations, and it's giving you so many different pictures which you are petrified. And then what happens? The fear, you're driven by fear. oh, this will happen, that will happen, society will say something, something might happen to my son. So all those kind of fear, we are driven by those fear, and that fear is caused by the mind. And when you understand this truth, then you will not fall prey to the mind. Why should we get upset about somebody saying something? Why can't we forgive? My Guruji was asking a very beautiful lesson, and he was doing some exercise. We say some people, the way they speak, it impacts us, it affects us. So my Guruji said, okay, you write down everything, that this is what it is, okay, what has affected you. Just bring it out. And when you bring it out, you will actually realize, okay, that person has not done any physical harm, he has not done bad to you, he's not stolen anything from you, not been untruthful or nothing. It's just mere words, and that comes because we are given into our tendencies. And where does the tendency stem from? You need to understand. It comes from the body's DNA. In the sense, the family you're born with, the parents you associate the body, you come from that source. And those are the reasons why you have that inherent tendencies. And that tendency is very difficult to overcome. And many a time, what happens? We channel somebody else's anger onto someone else. And that's another way. And that's why we behave very badly. We don't know how to behave. We don't know how to speak nicely. And here, the scriptures are teaching us, we just need to be nice to everybody. In the sense, my Guruji was teaching that, it doesn't matter. The person has not done anything bad to you. Yeah, he just said something. So, as we evolve in this, as we further go on in following chapters, we will much later in one of the chapters where Lord Sri Krishna has explained, one of the greatest things that you need to have as a divine propensities or the divine endowments is that you need to be forgiving everybody for their misdemeanors because they are ignorant. And sometimes because of their tendencies and their nature, they tend to make those mistakes. My Guruji, very graciously, no matter who his disciples are, no matter what they might have done, I'm telling you, he forgives everybody. Why? He has the perfect equanimity of mind. He understands everybody's inherent nature. He understands their past, present, and the future too. He knows where they stand. And since we do not have this understanding, we become petty human beings. We tend to say, oh, look, this person said this to me, that person said this to me, and we get lost in that talks of somebody else's mind. My Guruji will always say, why are you going into somebody else's mind's gutter? You already have enough in your mind. You're also going into somebody else's mind's play. Why would you get into that? You don't have to. Can you not just be focused and, channel all that energy which you're wasting on dwelling on subjects which is not giving you progress? So, which is not going to give you any progress, but the same energy, can you not channel it to rise in your world? Can you not, do something about your life? Use that energy, that passion, that God-given knowledge, strength, abilities, everything to become somebody great in this world. Work hard, do something with your life. Why are you ruining that life of yours? Saying my mother-in-law said this, my father-in-law said this person said that, my mother is bad, my dad is bad. My friends are like this. We are not happy with anybody. Because we also have expectations from others. And one of the things my Guruji has taught first thing is, never have expectations from any human being. See, human beings are fallible in nature. And this is one thing you need to understand very well. But the day you understand that, then you have no expectations. Whether somebody is behaving, right, wrong, it's not for you to control anybody's behavior. But it is in your control how you behave. Can you not be nice? Can you not be loving? Just be your good self. This is what my Krishna Guruji teaches constantly. But this lesson doesn't seem to enter us. Why? Because we are so attached to this body, the senses, and the tendencies that the tendency overpowers. So what happens to this divine knowledge that we are getting? Are you saying that God, the mind is greater than the God? Of course not. But it is in you to, show that strength that God wins the demons. Not you don't allow the demons to win the God. That is what shouldn't happen. So here Lord is saying, Arjuna, get up, get ready for the battle. fighting thus, you will not incur sin. So when you do your dharma, when you do your karma as per the dharma, you're not going to incur any sin. On the contrary, the open, it's an open gateway to the heaven. You will attain the heaven. So that is what he's saying as part of one's duty, born from that particular caste, that particular lineage. So you have to do that duty. There are no two ways about it. So now let us continue. Treating alike. So okay, we finish this. Next one, that is verse 39. Arjuna, this attitude of mind has been presented to you from the point of view of Jnana Yoga. That is from the point of view of knowledge. Now, here the same as presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. So what is now Lord going to teach? In fact, he is still teaching about, it is important to fight, but even then he has told, okay, this is the knowledge I've given. But now let us understand from the point of the karma, that is a duty. What does the whole Bhagavad Gita represent? It represents knowledge, duty, love and devotion. That is what Bhagavad Gita represents. By having that right knowledge, so far, Lord Sri Krishna has imparted the most esoteric knowledge to Arjuna. And that is what? That is called Jnana Yoga. Now here the same as presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. What are we supposed to do? Selfless action. We are not going to be attached to anything that we are doing. We are not saying, oh, look, I did this, the other person has to do something for me. There's no, it's not a give and take. It's not like a mutual agreement. You're only going to do selfless action. There is no hidden agenda. There's no motivation behind that action. You have to do because that is the body you have. That is what are your prescribed duties, and you got to do that action selflessly. And then what is it? Equipped with this attitude of mind, you will be able to throw off completely the shackles of karma. So what happens? So when you equipped with this attitude of mind, so you have to first make sure your mind understands and has this attitude that I am just here to serve. I'm just here to do my duty, born of this body, my inherent nature. I am just performing my duties, okay, selflessly. And I'm surrendering to the will of the Divine Lord. I am working for Lord Sri Krishna. I am not working for myself or my family or my husband, wife, children, my father, mother, nobody. I am only serving Lord Sri Krishna and He's my boss. That is what the attitude you need to have. You will be able to throw off completely the shackles of karma. So what happens? When you serve in that attitude, you will not incur any sins. There will be no karma that gets accrued to you from that action. How beautiful. So let us learn what is the Lord going to teach us now. In this path of selfless action, there is no loss of effort, nor is there fear of contrary result. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. Oh my God, this is very profound. Let me read this once again for you. In this path of selfless action, there is no loss of effort, nor is there fear of contrary result. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. What does that mean? He's saying, most important, what did he teach? He's talking about selfless action, which means I am not going to be bothered whether that action is going to yield something or not yield something, whether it is going to do something good to someone, is going to do bad to someone. I am not bothered. Whatever the duty, that action I have to do, born of that nature, I will perform. I'll tell you a very beautiful story, that, not a story, but from my own experience in my life, based on what my Guruji taught many, many years ago. It has taken me a long time to actually apply. Am I there yet? No, I'm not there yet 100%. But yes, to a large extent, I have understood this very important lesson. And that is, my Guruji has said, see, always remember, you are not working for a person. The day you think you're working for your bosses, you're working for your family, you're working for somebody else, you're always going to be a miserable human being. the day you make it, you just take it in your heart, I am serving my divine Lord. Whoever is your Ishta, it could be your Guru, it could be, whoever you want to think, that I am serving my Master. The day you understand this and you make it very firm in your, that attitude, he says, right, equipped with this attitude of mind, you need to make your mind, believe in that. That's what has to become your focus, the goal, that I am not serving any of my bosses. My real boss is my Lord Sri Krishna. I am serving him. So I'm not bothered about what happens around. Whether somebody is giving me a promotion, who cares? Whether somebody is not going to give me a promotion, doesn't matter. Somebody is giving me a good rating, doesn't matter. Somebody is giving me a bad rating, doesn't matter. Everything will be as per the will of the divine Lord. The day this lesson firms within you, when you have the firm conviction in your heart, let me tell you, life becomes very beautiful. You become really energetic. You're raring to go do stuff in this world. You're channeled. You are very focused, and you're not bothered about what somebody's saying, what somebody's doing. It doesn't matter. You will give your best at everything that you do. And this is what happened. It took me many years to understand this lesson. And then I realized it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter, especially with my rating. I've always believed I need to get an A+, whatever the highest rating is, or, it's number one. I have to always be that. Yeah, you aspire for that. But then I understood, if there are people who just wants to give you a rating based on whatever they think is right or wrong, does it really matter? But you know what? What comes, it doesn't matter. You have to be very good in that job. See, doing the example, you have to give your test, you have to give your examinations, and as per whatever the answer you are getting, you're going to get the marks. But that doesn't mean that you are going to go fight with that, right? An example is, based on my performance, I'm going to be given a rating, and that rating comes based on whatever my boss is telling. So maybe I might disagree to that, but yeah, I can always, put forward my point of view, or say, why do you consider that I get this rating? So you can always, not defend with facts and figures. You can go back and ask for a review. Maybe you say, no, if you think you need a better one, you can always suggest. But again, in that, either you will get it or you don't get it, but doesn't matter. The point is, you have to be the best in that job. That is what matters. It doesn't matter about what they think about you, what they say about you, the designations, the titles. None of this matter. And when you go with this attitude, the selfless action, I'm telling you, life is so beautiful. And then whatever your bosses say doesn't even impact, because they are not your bosses. They're just a puppet in the hands of the puppeteer. The real boss is the one who's actually, running your life. He's the charioteer. So when he's with you, what is there to fear? And then by performing that, we also eliminate getting into karmic debt with anybody in this world. And most important, we also eliminate ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. This is what happens. Isn't that so powerful? I'm telling you, it has taken me many years, to get that freedom, that understanding. And when this understanding forms within you, then nothing matters. Because just those one entity in this entire universe who is your boss, who you're serving selflessly. He's given you the job, he's put you in that position, and he's the one who wants you to be there for whatever reason. We don't know. The grand plan is never understood by us. We only know very simple. We can't see beyond our nose. So why question that? And be very grateful for that opportunity, because there's some learning required for you and you need to get that experience. Please remember, many a time I have always wondered, in all of my jobs I always wonder, I'm going to be very nice. I'm not going to get into any politics. I'm not even going to open my mouth. I'm just going to do my job. I'm going to be the best person that is there for that job. That's a goal I go with. And even without even my knowledge, I'll be, I'm already into the politics. I've been pulled into it. And then I understood much later, okay, maybe this is what my God wants me to learn. It's just a matter of learning. If I wouldn't go through that journey or get those experiences, how am I going to grow in my life? To become a great leader, you need to also understand how the dynamics the dynamics of the organizations, the dynamics of the politics. You just need to get that knowledge. And knowledge comes through experience. So it's not somebody telling you becomes a knowledge, right? Till you don't actually practically experience, how will you understand what is that knowledge meant? What is the meaning of that knowledge? So this was quite powerful. So then I said, okay, it's not in my hands to say, okay, I want to be in it or don't want to be in it. Nothing is in my hand. The day we understand this, life is very beautiful. I'm telling you. It's the greatest freedom that you can have. You know what is the freedom? Freedom from fear. So that's the biggest thing that you can ever achieve in your life. The freedom of not being afraid of anything. Because you're not interested in running behind titles, positions, power. No. You're there in that position. Yeah. If the promotion has to come, it's just an automated thing. It will come. You have to grow. You will grow. But what is the focus has to be selfless action. You're just being the best person in that job. Why? Because you're not serving any bosses of yours or a human being. You're serving the divine Lord. And that is the attitude you have to build. And when you build it, then you build, my Guruji said, our goal has to be in building the nation. We are here to serve the world. Selflessly we have to serve. Service unto humankind should be the ultimate goal, not serving oneself. Today if you look at 99.99%, what are we doing? Everybody's bothered about their living, their wife, their children, their husband. Everything is there. How many think about the world? Yeah, people think and they're doing in their own capacities, but that's still not enough. Can you commit your life to the service of the humankind, like Mother Teresa? How many Mother Teresas can you find today? Is the Mother Teresa can be replaceable? No, she's not. That is what we have to create. That's called the nation building. Like Gandhiji, they all have. He is the greatest freedom fighter. He fought for India's freedom. That is powerful. So we have to be the people who can build a nation. But we have to start somewhere. And that starting is what is important. That we have to do what we have come here to do. We can't say, I don't want to do and become a very average, mediocre, below mediocre human being. That is not why we have taken this birth. We have such a beautiful human body. Only through human body can you serve the world, can you love, and can you attain God's realization. Isn't that so powerful? Which means I can achieve moksha. It's like I can attain that realization without even much effort. That is what the Lord is saying. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. How beautiful. Even the little, he's not even saying you have to do a lot. He's just saying a little practice. Can we not do that much? That is what the Lord is saying here. That little practice is so important. So that practice for me just began a few years ago. And it's not a long time, but I have to continue with that practice. And then nothing is going to affect me. And you know what happens? Then I am focused in giving the best performance, in the best output. So whatever that I do, I'm going to be highly productive. The one reason why today the productivity and efficiency is not there, because everybody is dwelling in their mind. Have you seen how slow people behave? They're very slow in their approach. They're filled with inertia and lethargy. What is the inertia? Inertia is like it's like a defeatist attitude, or you feel I'm a biggest failure. It's like a martyr. You always think the downside of life. You're not seeing the upside of life. And that is where we lose out. So why do we become that? So we have to rise and shine. And that's extremely important. And this is what the Lord is saying. A little practice will take you a long way. This discipline, the little discipline. What is he talking about? We have to, discipline ourselves. This discipline, which is so important, a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. How simple is this? But yet we don't do. Even when we have knowledge, we don't apply that knowledge, and that is where we fail. So today we have to apply that knowledge. We have to rise and shine. This is for you and me. Come, let's build this nation together. It's quite nice. It's like a motivational talk, that 45 minutes or 1 hour of satsang. What happens? We sit, we get very excited, we listen, we become extremely enthused. and we are so, energized. But what happens later? Later you'll see someone's face, like your dad might say something, your mom might say something in finish, and then you're lost in that. Then you keep dwelling. Then you become angry, upset. All those things come about. So what happened to this goal? What happened to your life? You're wasting that God-given precious life of yours, and time is running. The clock is ticking. The time is not going to wait for us. And once, you lose the bus, then you can't get the other bus again. So that's what we should not do. We should not lose the God-given opportunity. Today it's here and the now. It's now we got to live. Live in the present and build a future. This is what my Guruji taught today. So powerful. Live in the present and build a future. And when we live in the present, we can do a lot of things. But if you dwell on the past, or you are going to be fearful of an unknown future, where the future, the fear of uncertainties, we say. When you think like that, then what happens? You are not going to live in the present. You are not going to do things that you're supposed to do. And the time has already gone. It's already gone and you can't catch with it. That is what happens. So why do that? I hope you understood this beautiful lesson. So let us continue from here. Arjuna, in this yoga of selfless action, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards one ideal, whereas the intellect of the undecided, that ignorant men moved by desires, wanders in all directions after innumerable aims. Exactly what I've been telling right now. That's exactly what the Lord is saying. Lord is saying, Arjuna, in this yoga of selfless action, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards that one ideal, that one goal of yours. And that goal has to be in front of you every single day. My Krishna Guruji says this to us. Your goal, you should be looking at that goal. Your focus has to be on that one thing alone. That I need to do this. That dridha, that absolute firmness, that determination, that's what it is. You have to dedicate, you have to determine and saying, this is my goal. And you have to commit your life to that. And that goal is the sole focus that you need to have on. But if you don't have that single focus, that single pointed devotion to that, that goal of yours, you're never going to achieve anything. That's exactly what the Lord is saying as well. The nation building. I have to serve this nation. I want to build a nation. So if that is my goal, don't you believe that the world will also follow you? They will all come join hands with you to make that happen? Because you're the one who's already charged, motivated, who's empowered, saying that I'm going to do this. You're determined within yourself, that one ideal. And then everything is directed. So what he's saying, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards that one ideal. And when you make your life that the cause of your existence, that one ideal, then it's magical. But what happens otherwise? Whereas the intellect of the undecided, so those who have not even decided, they don't know what to do with their life. They're always in the conflicting views, they're confused, their mind is always saying something or the other, they're lost in their mind space. They're undecided. And these people are called ignorant men, moved by desires. What are they moved? Which is what I'm saying. The 99.99% of the people are moved by their desires. They only want to, become rich for themselves. They want to become rich because they want to get a name, fame, recognition. They want to own a yacht. They want to own this. They want to own that. All that. But what happens for the nation building? What are you doing for this world? It's not about just doing a little philanthropy. Philanthropy everybody does. The moment you have a wealth, you want to open a foundation. That's also another, way. We say, okay, I want to become a philanthropist. But what is the cause? How are you going to achieve that cause? That is what is very important. It is not about me having 10 luxury cars. Can I use that wealth to do something in this world? Sai Baba says that is why wealth is to establish dharma. Dharma means what? We are here to serve this world. We are here to give to that world. Wealth is there to channel to everybody. We have to uplift the people. We have to empower them. We have to give them socio-economic empowerment is so important. Everybody has to become financially independent as well. Why is the health distributed so unevenly? That's how it is. That is Maya. That is the world. But what are you supposed to do? We have to channel that wealth, the God-given wealth, in the right direction. That is extremely critical. So what you have to do is work for that wealth so that you can channel that wealth as well. But if you don't do, then who else is going to do? So here, everybody is going to be driven by the desires. The ignorant man, moved by desires, wanders in all directions after innumerable aims. So what are they doing? They're wandering after innumerable aims. They have different ambitions. Innumerable. And then they are moved by their desires. Again, see, desire is the root cause of all misery. You need to understand. A man, a human being, it's a man or a woman, everybody is running after the fulfillment of the desire. But what happens? A desire is an insatiable creature. It keeps, expanding and expanding. The moment you finish fulfilling one desire, the next is in line. The next is in line. There is no stop button to that. Then what happens? You're only lost in fulfilling your desires. So where is the goal? So what are you actually doing? So where is the selfless service? Where are you performing your action, the karma? Selfless action. Where are you performing? You are not. So you're motivated. Your actions are all selfish. It's motivated action. So it is not a selfless action then. So how do you overcome that? First, don't think about yourself. You have to think about the world. My Krishna Guruji always teaches this. He wrote a very beautiful update. He says, mother thinks about her child, and then a father thinks about taking care of the family. But God thinks about everybody else. Can you become that God who can care about everybody else? Why should we only think about us? Such is my Krishna Guruji. He is the greatest mother who thinks about everybody's child. He thinks about all of their welfare. Today, can there be anybody who is serving selflessly? No. A mother can only think about her own child's well-being. But my Krishna Ma thinks about everybody else as his own children. And then he takes care of them. But for him, it is more important that he ensures that each of his child is performing their part. They are performing their action selflessly. See, one thing you need to understand, like Lord Shri Krishna, he's teaching Arjuna, okay? He's imparting that knowledge. But it is in Arjuna's hand for him to do the action. The Lord is not going to fight the battle. The Lord is not the one who's going to lift the bow and arrow and shoot. Similarly, the Guru is only a doorway. He's only a teacher. He can only teach you. He can take the horse to the water. But the horse has to drink the water. So it is for us to live this lesson. Knowledge is what is being given. And he will only show you the right direction. He will say you need to do like this, you have to do like that. Even this afternoon, my Guruji, he never took any nap. Today, he had some disciples who came to visit him. He was sitting there continuously with them since morning till evening, teaching them, guiding them. That is so beautiful. His goal is to, empower, put people on the right path, give them the right knowledge, show them the right direction. This is what he's been doing. And only the greatest of the masters will do, like Lord Shri Krishna. My Guruji is this Lord Shri Krishna. He is an essence of this divine, supreme Lord. And he's manifested so that he could show us the path, give us this knowledge, and show the right direction so that we all can perform our duties selflessly and unconditionally. There's no conditions to be applied. So when we do this, then we attain the divine through the path of Karma Yoga, having the most beautiful knowledge. Knowledge is there so that you cut asunder the ignorance. And once the ignorance goes, then you have to perform the duties. And once you perform your duties, then you are dedicated to that with love and devotion. And you have to do everything with love alone, love and devotion. Without love and devotion, nothing will be attained. It's all about love. You have to love what you do. You have to love yourself. You have to love this world. And that is why in spirituality, we're always taught to, the highest stage when you evolve. The stage that comes at a point in time in life is that you have to see God in everybody. You can't say somebody is my enemy, somebody is my friend. Both, there's no friend, there's no enemy also. Both are equal and you have to treat them equally. You have to see divine in everybody. Yeah, they have their nature, but you have to just stay away. Don't go near them. That is what is very important. And if we don't understand this, then what use is this lesson? Tell me. So Lord Shri Krishna has to, because Arjuna never understood at this moment in time, he had to go through till 18 chapters. And only after 18 chapters did Arjuna say, okay, now I am ready to fight. And then he fought the war. But 18 chapters, when the divine Lord is with you, how much more proof should the Lord give? I mean, I asked the same question to my Guruji. I feel so sorry for Lord Shri Krishna. I feel terrible. Though this lesson is understood, but why are we not able to apply? This Arjuna is me and you. Why are we like this Arjuna who doesn't want to fight in our world? And for which, my Gurudev, you're just wearing yourself out. You're teaching the same thing day in and day out. Don't you get fed up with us? I feel terrible. I feel horrible. I just don't know what else to do. But we have to make him worth his life for having spent so much time teaching. We have to live our lessons. We have to live his lessons. And that's the best Guru Dakshina one can ever offer to their Gurudev, to the greatest of their teachers. Nothing else. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter to my Gurudev. You can buy the best fancy clothes, give him all sorts of things. It doesn't even matter. He doesn't need any of those. But the one thing that you can offer to him is living his lessons. These most beautiful lessons. That is what you can offer. So we'll do one more verse. Arjuna, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letter of the Vedas, who look upon heaven as the supreme goal and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven, are unwise. They utter flowery speech recommending many rituals of various kinds for the attainment of pleasure and power, with rebirth as their fruit. Those whose minds are carried away by such words and who are deeply attached to pleasures and worldly power cannot attain the determinate intellect concentrated on God. Oh wow, this is very, very powerful. Let us try understanding this. Arjuna, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letter of Vedas, who look upon heaven as the supreme goal and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven. Very beautiful. You know what? First, I'll begin with saying, Lord Shri Krishna is beyond this heaven as well. To get a passport or a visa, not even passport, sorry, to get a visa, first you need to become qualified. How qualified? By living the lessons which the Lord is teaching. He's teaching that, people are so full of worldly desires and they are devoted to the letter of Vedas. Vedas is what? We take Vedas today and we say you have to do this puja, that puja, you have to believe in this God, that God, you do this, and then what? You will attain name, fame, money, power, wealth. The moment you start doing all of this, let me tell you, you're lost. And they're saying that who look upon heaven as the supreme goal and argue, they just want to attain some heaven. They want that holiday, that retreat. I'll come to that lesson, and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven, are unwise. Who are they? They are the unwise. They are ignorant people. What are they doing? They are falling prey into, doing that worship of all the rituals. They're worshipping all the gods. They're following the rituals. They're doing number of rituals. Let me tell you, at one point in my life, even I was unwise, like what Lord Shri Krishna is mentioning here. I wanted to become big. I wanted to become a CEO of a company. I had my own aspirations. I wanted to have a good house, a lot of dreams, And I was, what was I driven by? My desires. Those who are full of worldly desires. These were my desires. I was driven by that. And then what? I ended up performing every other worship. I didn't know there was anything beyond the heaven. So yes, the only goal is, once you do good, the belief, how people teach you is, once you do good, then you attain heaven. You do all the pujas, then you go to the Lord's heaven. This is all we were taught. because we didn't have the knowledge. The real knowledge was never given to us because nobody knew about it. So we were given a false in a sense, whatever they know. The knowledge is the direct what we have learned from our Vedas or whatever the elders have given, and then we have learned from our parents, and then from our school, teachers, college, then people around you, your acquaintance, your surroundings, your friends. You just learn and you make your own judgment, assumption, whatever the knowledge that you gather over a period of time. And so here the Lord is saying, Arjuna, running after that worldly desires, doing all these rituals and believing, this ultimate goal is just attaining a heaven and there's nothing beyond that. People are unwise. They utter flowery speech, recommending many rituals of various kinds for the attainment of pleasure and power, with rebirth as the fruit. So what happens? These people utter, speak flowery speech. They speak very sweetly, very flowery language, recommending many rituals. They say you have to do this pariharam, that pariharam, and then you'll get this money, you will get this, you will get married to a nice guy. What all nonsense. I have gone through this for many years when I had no knowledge, when I didn't have any understanding. And I fell prey to this because then finally there was one time when, something happened and hit me. I asked the question, why should I do all of this to attain this? Why can't I just go, sincerely worship God for who God is? Why should I do these rituals? I don't have to do the rituals to attain something, because this is driven by, a goal. Like if you're doing this puja, that means you will attain something. So you're going with your fulfillment of desire. Is God about fulfillment of desire? So when these questions started hankering me, I detested, because I couldn't get the answer. So I was seeking. And when that seeking was going on, that is when my Guru found me. They say the Guru comes, when does the Guru find you? 3 things are important. One is the human birth. Second is the burning desire to knowing yourself. And third thing is the grace of the God. When all these three things come together, that is when the Guru finds. So I was fed up with this. This was my point. And I determined, let me do as many rituals as I want, and I want to find God. I want an answer from God. And that was a period. Post 6 months, my Guruji finds me. I met, Lord Sri Krishna came in my life. That is what happened. And then there's no looking back. But we need to understand, going after this, we are sanctioning ourselves the rebirth. We're definitely going to be born. What is the fruit? Rebirth as their fruit. Because they're running after attainment of pleasure and power. That's wrong. Either we want power. Power is what? You want to be in a high position so that you get the power, you get name, fame, money, all that. None of this is valid. Nothing can you get. What do you get from that? Rebirth as the fruit. You're sanctioning yourselves this many lives. You've already guaranteed yourself rebirths. That is what the fruit of this culmination of these desires lead you to. Those whose minds are carried away by such words and who are deeply attached to pleasures and worldly power cannot attain the determinate intellect concentrated on God. So what is very important? You can't attain the determinate intellect. And what is the determinate intellect? That goal on which you have to focus. And that you cannot attain. And that is what he's saying. That determinate intellect concentrated on God, where you know that you're only serving the God. You're not serving because you have to fulfill your desires. God is the ultimate desire, and you're just going to do what comes to you naturally by the will of the God. And please remember, everything happens by the sweet will of the Divine Lord, and that is the truth. Until you don't realize this, you are going to be stuck in this world as a miserable human being, sanctioning yourself many rebirths as the fruit of your action, every action that you perform. So no matter what you do, you always have to say Krishna Arpan. Your job is to only do that job. Beyond that, you are not going to bother about anything else. You know you're serving the master, the master of this universe. That should be your way of that, the way of life. You have to have that firm, determinate intellect, concentrated on God alone, and then do your karma, then do your duty. then you will not perform any sins. You will not incur any sins. And that is how you will perform selfless action and you will attain that supreme goal. With that, we'll stop here today. We'll continue next week, same time. Once again, thank you for joining Bhagavad Gita Satsang. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanatha, Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.